current stories. These aren't old stories, right? He lives in Iraq, northern Iraq, and ISIS came and blew up the place, right? And he had to relocate. And when they go to relocate, depending on, I don't say ethnicity, whatever tribe, or not tribe, whatever division you're under, that's where you stay. So he was like a Sunni Muslim, so he went to that area, and they were divided into all those things, right? And so he had become a Christian 10 years before because he had a vision, he had a dream, and in the dream, Jesus appeared to him. And he became a Christian, and his wife was angry, like, how could you become a Christian? And then 3 months later, she had the same dream. And so she became a Christian. And then the author of the book is asking her, did you see any changes in your husband? And she said, yes, he stopped beating me. You see, only God's transforming power that enables us to do that. And so the place is bombed, and he's at this camp. And, you know, he should be worried because he's a Christian, and he's here where all these Sunni Muslims are, and those are one of the radicals, right? And so he's sitting in his tent, and he has 2 tents. He has 5 children. You know what he did? He put his entire family in one tent and devote the other tent for Bible studies. Amen. And he goes and he witnesses to people, bringing people to God. And I wrote this part down because I'm like, and there's over 1,000 families living there, right? So when the author asked him, what do you ask God for? He said, I don't ask him for anything because I have everything I need. Can you imagine? When he prays, he doesn't ask God for anything because he has everything he needs. When he visited him, it was the middle of winter. It was snowing outside. Wind was blowing in every direction. They have a little kerosene stove that barely broke the chill inside the tent. But he doesn't ask God for heat. He doesn't ask God for anything. He only has one thing on his mind, and that's winning souls for God. He's not worried about his physical, right? He's just worried, if you want to say the word worried, about winning souls for God's kingdom. Is that what you and I are worried about? Or are we worried about material things? Oh, my job. Oh, let me make sure I work so I don't lose my home. Right? He said, we're happy. He was happy because he had a roof over his head. He had food. But his greatest joy was that he had a mission field in every direction right in front of his door. That's what brought him happiness. Is that what brings us happiness? Because truly, if that's what brought us happiness, there will be many churches in El Paso. This church would be bursting its seam. You wouldn't have enough room for everyone. You know? But we're worried about the wrong thing. Right? It says, Jesus here, in Desire of Ages, it says, he was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. He is watching over you, trembling child of God. Are you tempted? He will deliver. Are you weak? He will strengthen. Are you ignorant? He will enlighten. Are you wounded? He will heal. Amen. So many of us are broken, and that brokenness affects our relationship with him. And he's saying, look, come to me and I will heal all of that. I will restore you. Come unto me is his invitation. Whatever your anxieties and trials, spread out your case before the Lord. Your spirit will be braced for endurance. The way will be open for you to disentangle yourself from embarrassment and difficulty. The weaker and more helpless you know yourself to be, the stronger will you become in his strength. Amen. You know, can you imagine the weaker I am? When I come to him, he will make me stronger. Where do you get that? If you have nothing, you go out there, you get nothing, right? That's our mentality. If you give me something, I give you something. If I don't give you anything, you don't give me anything. Right? But here it is. The weaker. It didn't say if you're weak. The weaker you are, the more helpless. You can't do anything. The stronger you will become in his strength. That's why Muhammad is able to serve him out there amongst those people. That's why the pastor in China is able to preach. And yet still, you and I are sitting here being bench warmers. Have mercy. It says, whatever we're going through, God is there not only to help us, but to deliver us and to save us. If he's willing to offer this gift to us of not worrying, why do we worry? Why is it the Chinese pastor do not worry about going to jail? Why isn't Muhammad not scared about being killed for sharing the gospel? Because they have truly cast all their cares upon Christ. They are seeking God's kingdom first. They are focused on winning souls for his kingdom, and as a result, they do not have time to worry about the things that we so often worry about. 1 John 5, verse 14 and 15. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he heareth us. And if we know that he hears us, whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desired of him. So if I just read the first verse, and this is the confidence that Natalie have in him, that if Natalie asks anything according to his will, he heareth me. He hears. Confidence. What is confidence? Surety. What else? Faith. I have faith. Right? That he hears. Can you imagine? The King of the universe, our Creator, hears everything I ask him for. So why don't we ask him for more? Why are we so limited in what we ask him for? Why do we choose worry over asking for help? Jesus looked upon the distressed and heart burdened, those whose hopes were blighted, and who with earthly joys were seeking to quiet the longing of the soul. And he invited all to find rest in him. Jesus is inviting you and I to find rest. You know when you're resting, let me ask you this. When you're sleeping, are you worried about anything? No. I mean, if you wake up, you might start worrying. But while you're sleeping, are you worried? That's the rest that God is asking us to have in him. To come to him and have such rest that we're not worried. Just as how when we're sleeping, we're not worried about anything. I desire to have that. I don't know about you. But to have that rest in him, to not worry about anything, oh my. It says, take my yoke upon me and learn of me. So, in essence, I worry because I don't know him. In church our whole life, but don't know him. He says, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. When we find that rest, then we're not worried. Because we're worried because we're not resting, and we're not resting because we're worried. You see? God is calling us, find rest. Yeah? Natalie, overwhelmed. And Jesus is saying, Natalie, come find rest. Yeah? Each one of us, we have so many things on our mind, Gail. And Jesus is saying, come, find rest. Is your heart burdened this morning? Jesus is asking us to take his yoke and learn of him. Are you ready to learn of him? Are you ready to stop being worried? Are you willing to lay all on the altar? Are you ready to take up his yoke? Ask. I love this quote. Listen to this. This is from the book Prayer. Ask, then ask, and ye shall receive. Then look what he says to ask for. Ask for humility, wisdom, courage, increase of faith. To every sincere prayer, an answer may come. It will come. Every sincere prayer. So if I'm worried and I'm like, Lord, I don't want to be worried anymore. Please take it from me and give me rest. That quote said, an answer will come. Not may come, might come. It will come. It may not come just as you desire or at the time you look for it, but it will come in the way and at the time that will best meet your need. The prayers you offer in loneliness, in weariness, in trial, God answers. Not always according to your expectations, but always for your good. I got excited reading that. Here it is, the King of the universe. He said, Natalie, ask. Stop worrying. Ask. Cast your burden. Right? What I love about this, he's telling us what to ask for. Humility, wisdom, courage, increase of faith. Why is he telling us to ask for these things? Huh? Because we don't have as much as we need. Because we don't have this, then we have this separation, right? And when we have the separation, then worry comes in. Right? But when we cast everything, can you imagine? Ask for humility. And he says, the end part says, the prayers you offer in loneliness. Have you ever been lonely? Sometimes you could be in a room filled with people and still be lonely. In weariness, some of us are so tired, so exhausted. In trial, some of us, the enemy just bombards us one after the other. After the other. He says, when you pray for any of those things, he will answer us. Not always according to our expectation, but always for our good. That's the God we serve. Why don't we challenge him? You know? Why don't we challenge him? The Lord gives us the privilege of seeking him individually in earnest prayer, of unburdening our souls to him, keeping nothing from him who has invited us. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Jesus desires to give us rest. You know, I liked it says, seeking him individually. Sometimes we meet people and like they pray such amazing prayers and their prayers get answered and you're like, oh, my prayer is not good enough. Can you pray for me? But this is individually. What is individually? Yourself. Each person come to him in earnest praying and he will give you rest. Guaranteed. Oh, how grateful we should be that Jesus is willing and able to bear all our infirmities and strengthen and heal some of our diseases. All our diseases, if it will be for our good and for his glory. So when you pray and you're not healed, you cannot be angry with God because it wasn't for your good and his glory. Right? We should say, not my will, but thy will. Lord, I am sick and I need healing, but whatever will bring you glory. But I have young children. Who is going to raise them? But what we have to say is, whatever will bring you glory. That needs to be our mindset. That's how we need to think. We need to ask God to change our way of thinking, change our outlook, give us what? Eyes, new eyes so we can see him, new ears so we can hear him, right? A new heart, a new mind, and he longs to transform us. But what we do, we keep holding on to our baggages. 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, we holding on. What for? What is it going to do for us? Separates us from him. We should go to Jesus and tell him some of our needs. Right? All of our needs. We may bring him our little cares and perplexities as well as our great troubles. I'm excited about that, because as a mom, sometimes my children will come and they'll say something. I'm like, that's it? I mean, really? God doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. No matter how small or insignificant the problem is, if it bothers you, it bothers him. And he wants, not wants, he longs, he desires for you to bring it to him. Amen. It says, whatever arises to disturb or distress us, we should take it to the Lord in prayer. Sometimes you're going through some things you can't even see clearly. I remember one time, I don't even remember what I was going through, but I remember something happened and I needed to talk to someone. I called 5 friends. No one answered. And God allowed that. He wanted me to come to him. And it was after the 5th one I was like, oh, he wanted me to talk to him and not them. Because oftentimes, let's be honest, how much can our friends help us? Right? But he will help us. He is right there. It says, when we feel that we need the presence of Christ at every step, Satan, listen to this, get excited. Satan will have little opportunity to intrude his temptations. Do you get that? When we feel that we need the presence of Christ at every step, my left foot, the right foot, one before the other, one behind, however we walk, Satan will have little opportunity to intrude because we have casted everything on him. Isn't that exciting? We should be excited about that. It is his studied effort to keep us away from our best and most sympathizing friend. We should make, listen to this, we should make no one our confidant but Jesus. We can safely commune with him of all that is in our hearts. Everything that's right here, he wants us to give to him. Everything. I worry. And everybody have different things that we worry about. My biggest worry in the mission field is snakes. I don't like them. And I asked God, I've asked Him to help me like them because they're going to be in heaven. I wish they weren't, but He knows best, right? And I asked, Lord, I haven't gotten there. And I've had many snake incidences. But God always protects me, right? I haven't gotten bitten. I've seen venomous snakes, but He's protected me. And there were times when my thoughts is so consumed with snakes. You know how it says that when we feel that we need the presence of Christ at every step. For me, every step I took, I was literally thinking about a snake. And I'm looking. And so it says that when you go to the next part, it says it is His studied effort to keep us away from our best and most sympathizing friend, Satan. So if every step I take, I'm thinking about Satan. I mean, the snake. Is Christ in my thoughts? No. And so I have to, and I'm still in the process of learning to surrender that fear completely to Him, casting it on Him. So I'm a work in progress. We all are. We all are. This morning, as we come together to pray, let's bring all our cares and perplexities. Let's give Him all our troubles. He desires nothing more than for us to bring everything to Him. We're going to come forward to pray. And as we come forward, wrong button. I don't know if you know this song, but we could sing it as we're coming to pray. I'll sing it through, and then if you know, sing with me. And the second time, everybody should know it. I cast all my cares upon you. I lay all of my burdens down at your feet. And anytime I don't know what to do, I will cast all my cares upon you. At this time, we're going to transition to praying. And as we're coming forward, let's sing this song one more time. I cast all my cares upon you. I lay all of my burdens down at your feet. And anytime I don't know what to do, I will cast all my cares upon you.
Let's have a short closing prayer, and then they can stop the live stream, and then we'll have our united prayer. Dear Father in heaven, thank you so much for reminding us today that you are faithful and trustworthy, that we do not have to take our burdens on ourselves, but we can lay them upon you, throw them at you actually, and you lead and guide, and you help and provide everything we need to deal with the things that we're worrying about.